We're going. Okay. Anyway, welcome to one of our incense discussions. We kind of have a new format. May as well get the nuts and bolts out, right? This is Seth over at Woodstock Trading Company. Our address is 1880 Route 70 East, and we're in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 08003. Our phone number is area code 856 424 6166 if you have any questions. Hours, we are 11 to 7 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Saturday is noon to 7 Eastern, and Sunday is noon to 5. And if you have any questions or whatever, certainly call up. I'm more likely to be here during the week than on weekends.
Or email.
Or you can also email us. It's WTC at woodstocktradeco.com. You can also, find us on the web. We're also on Facebook as well. So check out our Facebook page, which we're trying to improve and get better and better. So we're trying this whole new format, which makes things a little bit easier and probably a little more exciting because we're able to hone in more specifically on certain items. And I felt that, also, more nuts and bolts. If you need any samples or if you're interested in any samples, some of the things that I'm showing here, certainly we can take care of that. So you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to us. It's 1880 Route 70 East, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 08003. If there are any specific samples that you're interested in, certainly make sure you write there what it is that you would like to try, or if you don't really have any specific things in mind and you just say, send us some interesting stuff, we can also do that.
We need a business size envelope.
Business size envelope, right. Thank you. These are the little nuts and bolts. I'm glad I got people here to keep me straight. Now, what's great about this is now we can really hone on specific things. And what I felt was most important to begin with is the discussion of Champas, particularly because one of the Champas that I get, I'm so very proud of, is a very unusual, pretty uncommon, you could even say rare item. Just to fill you in, from our very first incense discussion that we had a few years ago, I don't remember how long ago, we got into the topic of what these different incenses, how they're composed, particularly Indian incenses, which have the greatest amount of diversity. There are beautiful Japanese incenses and Chinese and Tibetan and from all over the world, but the greatest diversity is in the Indian incenses. Okay, 3 basic categories. I'll make it quick so we can show you more stuff. What are called masala incenses, which are made up of dry ingredients. And if you've ever done any Indian cooking, you hear the term masala, like garam masala, things like that. And it refers to a mixture of spices. So those are incenses made from dry or solid or semi-solid ingredients. There are charcoal-based incenses, where a fine powder of flour made from charcoal, often from coconut shell, ground up into a very fine paste, mixed with water in a binder, and rolled onto little bamboo sticks. It's a really cool thing to see them do that. And they're let to dry, and those are dipped into liquid incenses. Very often those are florals, but not always. There's a combination of masala and oil, where a masala incense is dipped into oils. Then there's the category of durbars. Durbars are a mixture of solid ingredients and fragrant oils. The solids often are resins, gums, powders made from spices and floral petals and you name it. And they're all mixed together in an amalgamation, kind of like a dental filling. And they're rolled onto these bamboo sticks. And there's a subcategory of durbar, champa. Champa is referred to a durbar type incense that contains a noticeable amount of halmadi. Halmadi is this gummy, sticky, pretty unattractive looking stuff that has really distinctive fragrance that defines a champa. it refers to the plumeria, the Indian plumeria. The term Frangipani is often used in substitute for halmadi, but it refers to the same thing. Now, why we decided to do this? The reason I decided to do this is because we just got in, and this is really great. It's called Frangipani Champa. Okay, that on our website, I even wrote down the number, getting better, is item number 233. I'll jump ahead and then I'll go back. Okay, Champa Incenses. Most people are familiar with this particular Nag Champa. This is from Srinivas Sugandhalaya, and they're probably the most famous of Nag Champas. And they started making Nag Champa, and it was imported into this country soon after, around 1964. And this was the first Champa, as far as I know, that was imported into this country. And it's certainly the most popular and most famous. Well, we have noticed, and I still think it's a beautiful and superbly formulated fragrance. It has changed so very much over the last particularly 20 or so years. So the Nag Champa you find today really doesn't resemble the Nag Champa that I originally sampled, and maybe a bunch of other people also sampled. So many people wanted the Nag Champa the way it was. Well, that's not going to happen. Okay, what that has done is it's opened up channels for other Champas. Kind of like when a huge tree dominates in a forest. When that tree dies, then all the other little trees now can grow in. That's sort of what's happening. So one of those is Frangipani Champa. And the frustration with the Srinivas Nag Champa is it seems to contain less and less of this halmadi. And it's becoming less and less like a Champa. Still a wonderful fragrance, and I use it every day. But it's less and less like a Champa. Now, Frangipani, it's a hearkening back to the true original Champa type incenses. Champas that were available in India, but were not available in America. Now many of these are available, and Frangipani is one of them. Okay, we're gonna like this. I was really amazed when I first tried it, because I didn't know that beautiful halmadi incenses were still available. And part of the fun of this particular fragrance is the people that I get it from. We're very, very careful about who we get our things from, especially our incenses, especially our gemstones and crystals and all that kind of thing. We're really, really careful because we don't need to buy from people we don't like. There's no reason for it. We don't have to. Plus, I think it just kind of imbues a certain spirit in what we purchase. Plus, we enjoy talking to these people. This guy is really, really great, and any excuse to talk to him, I will. In fact, the way it comes to me is just wonderfully primitive. It comes in these bundles, wrapped up in these papers, and that's almost part of the fun. There's our bundles. They come in kilo bundles, wrapped up in these papers, and I have to repackage them, which I really enjoy doing. I wish you could be here. So, Frangipani Champa. This is a hearkening to the old original Champa incenses, many of which we couldn't get. Now, the halmadi is a relatively sweet but earthy, rich fragrance. In this particular one, that halmadi is front and center. This is what when people want Champas, they want halmadi. This is a halmadi-based incense in every sense of the word. It is very cool, very gentle, very light, super complicated. It has a strange, cooling, almost damp quality, which is interesting because halmadi is hygroscopic, which means it pulls water in from the air around it. So if you ever noticed, a Champa incense always feels a little bit damp and a little bit soft, just like this. Oh wow, 5 minutes. Oh goodness. This is taking longer than I expected, but that's okay. We'll do another one of these. If you've noticed, some incenses, they call themselves Champa, and they're dry and brittle. Chances are they do not contain very much halmati. So they're always a little bit damp, which contributes probably to its slow burning and relatively light fragrance. Things that burn very, very quickly tend to be more harsh and strong. People, for example, keep their cigars in a humidor for the same reason. So they burn slow, burn cool, and mellow. This is a perfect example of such a thing. It also is reminiscent of, it reminds me of something almost subterranean, very cool, damp, almost earthy. I guess I would have to describe it. It has an earthy, loamy. If you've ever been in a cave, there's a very distinctive kind of almost wine cellar-like quality. Not musty, but I guess musty is the word. I'm not sure. But it's certainly not mildewed nor hampery. This has a slight bit of that quality of being earthy and gentle and loamy. Some people equate it to patchouli. I don't think it contains patchouli, but it may have vetiver, which has an earthy, lemony quality, which you can also pick up in a fragrance like this, a slight lemony quality, which I suspect is due to relatively noticeable amount of frankincense, and a particularly high grade of frankincense, probably not from India, maybe even from the Middle East. This is one of those fragrances we're super, super, super proud to have. Now, this, if you're a Nag Champa person from the past and you really, really want to get an old true Champa, this is a perfect example. Perfect, perfect. Not quite as aromatic, a little bit darker, a little bit earthier than the old original Nag Champa, but it'll be right up your alley. I'm gonna mention a few other things. We won't have a chance to light them, I guess. This is the old Nag Champa. This we get from a fantastic company, which we think are just gorgeous. I guess I may as well light it. I'll be quick. This one, the halmati, is not quite as upfront. So if you want a little bit less of the halmati, this one has more of a sandalwood note. It's a little bit drier than the Sairanjani. Sandalwood is more upfront. There's also a small amount of saffron that I'm picking up. So this is a much drier, not that Sairanjani is very sweet, but this is a much drier variant. Burns a little warmer, slightly warmer fragrance, a little more cinnamon, bit more resinous. If you enjoy resin incenses, then the old Nag Champa, let me give you the number, I'm sorry, is number 134. It's considerably drier, considerably warmer, slightly leathery. I'll show you at least one other real quickly. This, we mentioned Frangipani.
Dr. Seth,
yes.
can you just go back
Yes.
and say when you would burn Frangipani, what is it kind of good for? Is it restful? Is it stimulating?
Well,
2 minutes.
halmati incenses. Well, the plumeria often is you'll find around lamaseries, monasteries. Its primary function, at least in India, is used for meditative purposes. Okay. Here in the States, we certainly have a number of people that are really into transcendental meditation, and this certainly has been a very important tool for people that do TM. Also, I just find it helps me sleep. I need something in the air that I can grasp. I can't sleep in a sterile room with nothing in it. I need something that I can think about. So I find particularly the Sairanjani very calming, cooling. If you're overtired, overstimulated, overheated, also in very warm, dry environments, I find it to be very cooling, very calming fragrance. Very grounding. Quickly, do I have time to show the Frangipani? Okay, we'll save the Frangipani for next time, but it's a magnificent halmati incense. We'll do it next time. We didn't get as far as we wanted. Sorry.
Well, why don't we do